Hello everyone and welcome back to Recall Gaming, and no doubt you're feeling the nostalgia straight away with that introduction on the screen right now. You really didn't think this channel was going to stay away forever, did you? Not with Call of Duty Black Ops 1 and 2 coming back to PS5, as I'm sure you're all very well aware, as well as PS4 and Xbox Series X, is it these days? Who knows? I won't say who cares, because people still do. But here you are, Call of Duty Black Ops. I'll just briefly show you that we boot up the game, we put it on veteran difficulty. I'll include cutscenes, and I'll go quiet for a moment.
Wake up. Wake up.
Where am I? Where's Reznov?
You will answer our questions. Do you understand?
Who the hell are you?
That's not important. What's important is who you are. What's your name?
Fuck you!
Where were you born?
Kiss my ass! Ah!
Your name is Alex Mason. You were born in Fairbanks, Alaska. In 1961, you served in a CIA assassination team known as Operation 40. Is that correct? Is that correct?
Yes.
Where's the broadcast station?
I don't know what you're talking about.
The numbers, Mason. What do they mean? Where are they broadcast?
I don't know
from?
anything about any numbers.
What about Dragovich? Do you remember him? Give us what we want, we'll guarantee your safety.
Ah!
Let's start at the beginning. Cuba, 1961, the Bay of Pigs. We know you were there.
No.
Do not fuck with me, Mason! I know when you're lying. 61, Bay of Pigs. What happened?
We all got killed.
There's no use lying, Mason. We know you went in with Woods and Bowman.
Woods. Bowman.
Dragovich. Do you remember Dragovich?
Castro. We went in to kill Castro.
So obviously if you want to skip that stuff, guys, you can, but those who want to get a bit engrossed in the story, who maybe, are fans of the channel but want to experience a bit more the story, can do that, and I'll be quiet in those moments so you can enjoy it. But here you are, this is the first mission, Operation 40, and do you know something? It's very hard to even know where to begin when doing this commentary. This is going to serve as a walkthrough. Deaths are cut out, as you can tell. I'm doing this commentary all post. I recorded this playthrough about a month ago, actually, and I toyed with the idea of doing it live, but just circumstances prevented with that, and I thought it'd be more fun to do it here. And yeah, is this a bit of a shameless cash grab from Activision? A little bit. I mean, I literally played through the series, COD 4 to Black Ops 2 on Veteran, at Christmas time last year, because I'm fortunate enough to still have my PS3 booted up and all these games on disc, but it is fun to play these games. They run at 60 FPS on PS3, but you have a lot of texture popping that thankfully isn't here, and just little things that make it run a little bit smoother, as you'd expect on PS4, PS5. I mean, these are very much just a basic port. There are a couple of things I wish they had done, like trigger support maybe, but we'll discuss all that as things goes on. This video will feature Operation 40 and Vorkuta. I'll label that in the title, so that should all be pretty clear. But yeah, if there's any parts of the game that are really difficult, I will want this to serve as a walkthrough, so obviously feel free to check in, see what I do, and if it's a particularly difficult moment, I will explain, like, the difficult, how I got through it, basically, and make it an actual walkthrough. But for the most part, we're just going to be talking shop, as this channel kind of does. And of course, with this being Recall's a bit of, a second comeback video, we best sort of, talk that side of things as well for my long-time fans, as I've got some ideas that are very much floating in the pipeline at the moment. For those who may be interested in Uncharted 4, may well be making a return to this channel, but Black Ops, I mean, in terms of difficulty, we'll talk Call of Duty and Black Ops mostly in this video anyway, but in terms of difficulty in this one, Black Ops was an interesting, I don't want to say divergence point, because the divergence point, I would say, comes in Modern Warfare 2. So we'll go right back to the start. Call of Duty 1, it was initially a PC exclusive, got ported over to PS3 and Xbox 360 as Call of Duty Classic. That is undoubtedly one of the hardest Call of Duties, but that's kind of different. That plays with like a Medal of Honor style difficulty. where obviously there's no health regeneration, so there's that basic thing for a start. And it worked in a strange way where you put it on veteran, there are actually no health packs to pick up, so you had to keep your health at like 60, 100%. Otherwise, you would never get a checkpoint. And the levels were quite short, and enemies, the game didn't really do a lot of infinite respawning, which made a huge difference. And so you could thin enemies out slowly and progress through the levels that way. The hardest levels in that were definitely the British campaign, because you were generally up on your own. Those were the most Medal of Honor-esque. When it was fighting with the Americans in the first third of the game, it's pretty manageable. Mind you, get to the final like few Russian levels. I remember some of the Russian levels were really hard. Off the top of my head, Pavlov's house, that sticks out as a particularly really difficult one. The end of it was pretty easy at the Reichstag, nothing like Call of Duty World at War, but I'm getting ahead of myself with that, mentioning that one. Call of Duty 2, on the Xbox 360 and PC, that was where Call of Duty became the difficulty that we know it as now, and that's a really hard one. Possibly the hardest one. It's one that doesn't get mentioned too often because most people who have jumped on this series didn't play that one. I think there's a good chance that if you're watching this video, you haven't played that one. If you have means of playing that on PC, or if you have an Xbox, any modern Xbox because it's backwards compatible, really treat that, get that, and don't play it on Veteran, because we'll talk about Veteran on here. And yes, I like playing these games on Veteran, but they got a hell of a lot of issues as a difficulty mode. Not the kind of difficulty I actually really like that much. But you get Call of Duty 2, and if you're half decent at an FPS game, stick that bad boy on Veteran, on Hardened, sorry, and you'll have a really fun time. It is a top draw, FPS game, even from 2005, 21 years on from its release. Call of Duty 3, again, quite difficult. Off top, and that's more due to the fact that it's a little bit broken. That game was made, Treyarch made that game very quickly, and I want to say about 8 months. That's the kind of time frame I've heard over the years that's been repeated, and without double checking, that's what I'll go with. If I'm wrong, please correct me. I'm more than happy to, be proven wrong on that. But yeah, Call of Duty 3, quick time frame, and that led to some. Then there was a big disparity. I can't say the word disparity. Infinity Ward would generally in their campaigns would give you a lot more checkpoints. Treyarch were a lot more unforgiving with it, and this game, we'll get to its comparisons with Modern Warfare 2. This game doesn't like to give you that many checkpoints either all the time, and getting to that checkpoint is sometimes some of the hardest stuff ever. And damn, I hate that I missed that grenade launcher. On PS3, whenever I play this game, I always try and nade that guy with the grenade launcher. And what's surprising about this game is that there is actually quite a bit of gore. It's not World at War by any stretch, but in the campaign there is a little bit of gore, and there'll be the occasional moment where we'll find somebody on the floor, and I'll have a look at just some of the devastation I've caused, and yeah, you'll see. And just one side note, I will not be picking up any intel in this walkthrough. This is not, if you're looking for 100, all the intel pieces for the trophy, this video is not for you. I'm not going to be covering that. I am going to do some trophy guides, some like very quick 2-minute videos. More just get some videos on the channel, and I have strategies that I perfected back in 2010, 2011 that are still obviously good now because this is just a straight up port. So I might as well share that knowledge with the world. And because I've got a great following of you guys, a small but dedicated following, as I always say. I think we're at 133 subs as of when I'm recording this. Unbelievable. Thank all of you. There's some of you that are actually interested and will watch. So yeah, I'm happy about that. But as I was saying, going back to difficulty scaling, which I started this point right as we started the mission, but here we are. Call of Duty 4 was the one that most people probably popped on in this series. Really hard game on Veteran, and it's carried the formula of Call of Duty 2, which is generally it's not that much about engaging enemies, it's about pushing checkpoints. So you're basically on Veteran, you're hitting checkpoint to checkpoint and trying to avoid dying in the process. Your teammates will help push up. If you push up, your teammates will, they're invincible and they'll take out the enemies. That's kind of how it worked, especially back then. And if you don't move quickly, you're going to get spammed with grenades in all of them. But there's obviously one Call of Duty that everyone's very familiar with. There's a hell of a lot more cruel with that. But so Call of Duty 4 changed that. So it didn't really change anything, kept it as Call of Duty 2, infinite respawning, a horrible mechanic. It was basically done to make it seem far more epic in scale than it was. And as I say, not the most rewarding difficulty. It was just purely about pushing checkpoints and, hitting checkpoint to checkpoint. You were never going to do a level on any of these Call of Duties with no damage. It's not the kind of difficulty we're going for. We're not going for Dante Must Die or Hardcore Ranger in Metro. that kind of difficulty by any stretch. And then we get to Call of Duty World at War, which again keeps everything pretty much the same, but adds in the infinite, not infinite, rather just although it feels infinite, grenade spamming, which is awful. And if this game ever gets that port to PS5, which I am really fingers crossed it does, and I think it will, I really do think it will, judging by how well these ports have done in terms of sales for Activision, then you can guarantee I will be doing a walkthrough on that campaign, and I'll probably do a playthrough and a walkthrough, because I've played that campaign like over 10 times, to the point that Heart of the Reich is not that difficult for me, and I'm not saying that as a boast, because Blowtorch and Corkscrew is the one that kicks my ass instead. And when you have a difficulty like World at Wars and say World COD 4, any moment can be difficult because of just the extreme harshness of circumstances you put under. Now, thankfully, when we get to Modern Warfare 2, they changed the game a lot there. I think infinite respawning is pretty much done away with, apart from a few sections maybe, but the game's a hell of a lot fair. Enemies don't seem to react to you anywhere near as quick. Still a tough challenge, but I'd say it's a lot more fair and a lot more enjoyable. This game is kind of a strange blend of World at War and Modern Warfare 2. It's got some moments that are really difficult, but I'd say the hardest bit is actually an on-rail sequence, which is always Call of Duty's bane. Difficulty at its worst, because you couldn't take cover, etc., and you're just at the mercy of the AI, as we take out Fidel Castro, feared leader of Cuba. Not with us anymore. He was still alive when this game came out. I don't know if he had anything to say on it, like Manuel Noriega did with Black Ops 2. You know, the leader of the Panama at the time, in 1989, before he was ousted in the invasion. But yeah, that was this game, Black Ops. There's not much grenade spamming in there. Infinite respawning is in here in some pretty notorious parts, but this is a pretty fair difficulty for the most part. You're probably looking at like 80% fairness and the occasional BS, but I do find this one a fun one to play, and you can go quite far. You can probably do some of these levels without dying if you really apply yourself. I'm sure you can do it on any Call of Duty if you're at a certain skill level. In fact, World at War has a trophy for doing a level on Veteran without dying, I think, or that might stretch to Hardened. But there is actually a really fun workaround with that, that if we do get that port, I'll tell you about that. Really easy way to get that trophy. And then from Modern Warfare 3, the Call of Duty games are just a joke on Veteran. They're just, walkthroughs are not necessary at that point, and they've kind of stayed that way for the most part. I won't go any further than Modern Warfare 3 because there's no point. I mean, Black Ops 3 and Infinite Warfare added some interesting difficulty options, but for the most part, they've stayed pretty easy with occasional variations. I'd say the Modern Warfare reboot trilogy has been a little bit more difficult. Black Ops Cold War, bit of a joke, difficulty-wise, really easy, but hell of a lot of fun. I will talk about that game anyway as we get to it. But now I'll actually talk a little bit more about this Call of Duty that we're playing. Call of Duty Black Ops from 2010. Was not a Call of Duty that I loved back in the day. When I played this at the time, I think all of us were just like, we want Modern Warfare 3. You know, Modern Warfare 2 had rocked our socks for the most part for a lot of people. Now I actually look back, I think Call of Duty 4 is such a superior title. Well, not such a superior title, but definitely a clear superior title for me. I just think it's a hell of a lot better. Modern Warfare 2 was very chaotic and just balls to the wall action, and it's probably the game where the series stopped moving away from being quite the gritty war shooter that it was. And it wasn't too bad at the time, and especially in 2010 it was still okay, but you look at the point where Call of Duty is at now, I would say that it all sort of stems from that 2009 installment. Not that is to blame for where Call of Duty is at now, where you got like Seth Rogen running around killing you. I mean, I had a funny conversation with someone at work a few weeks ago. I said, "Oh, you excited for Modern Warfare 4? Have you been playing Black Ops 7?" Because he still plays this series. I kind of stopped a while back playing it, and he said to me, "No, I kind of got sick of dying to Seth Rogen or something, or somebody getting a pinball machine out of me, online." And I said, "Oh, well, I kind of get that." So, because this was a gritty war shooter at one time, believe it or not. But yeah, as I say, when this game came out, I didn't really love it. I was like, just wanted Modern Warfare 3, but now it's just, I see it as such a classic. It's such a great Call of Duty. And it's still a really fun FPS game. I think you can still feel the magic of this 16 years on. And I'm kind of sad to read that a lot of people haven't been buying this one. Most people have bought Black Ops 2. Good significant people have bought this one, but I suspect that that's just returning players. I don't think many new people who haven't experienced this great game will have jumped on it, which is a real shame. So if you've got, when it goes on offer, I would really consider picking this up, because campaign's a lot of fun, multiplayer's a lot of fun, and zombies, Everyone goes on about Black Ops 2 being the zombie peak. I do not agree with that. I think this game was its peak. But again, that's an opinion that's out there to be... You can shoot me down on that one. But I'll defend ardently that, you know, this installment of Zombies is clearly the best. The map layout was phenomenal. I don't think many maps from Black Ops 2 would have been considered decent on this one. Origins was really good. I'll give it that. But some of the Die Rise and stuff were not too good that featured in Black Ops 2. But we're coming to the end of Operation 40. This mission, we're going to this final sequence where we're going to cover Woods and Bowman and Carlos out of here, and then we'll have Vorkuta in there as well. And the end of the video will be the third mission, which doesn't actually feature any like combat or anything, but I included it just for sake of continuity, and then from then on it'll be Executive Order, won't it? Yeah. But just some like stuff to mention. It's quite incredible, you know. You'll have heard Sam Worthington a few times now in this video, and when this game came out in 2010, Sam Worthington was like the hottest thing in Hollywood at the moment. He'd had a big breakthrough. Terminator Salvation's the first thing that comes to mind. I'm sure he had something else, and he had Avatar. Obviously, can't believe that escaped me then. The much bigger and more successful hit than Terminator Salvation, but he had Avatar, and then he had, you know, Terminator Salvation as well, which, yeah, not the best film, but, you know, did well at the box office and stuff, and he certainly wasn't a weak part of that film. He got a lot, you know, he's the main man, really, him and Christian Bale, and his character actually has an arc, unlike Christian Bale's John Connor, that it's just John Connor and then John Connor. There's not much to that character, obviously, and he's very much just doing his Batman phase, but Sam Worthington, yeah, hottest stuff ever. And then I think Clash of the Titans was the big one. That was a bit of a flop, and I don't know, back then it felt like if Nacho had a big flop, that kind of just ended the career. And so when Black Ops 2 comes out in 2 years' time, and Sam Worthington's obviously back to reprise Alex Mason, it was kind of like when I remember playing Black Ops 2 when it came out, I was like, oh yeah, Sam Worthington, he was a thing. Like, you're talking about, like, it was almost like a light switch, you know. He went from mega to nothing, hero to zero. And listen, these are no digs at Sam Worthington. He seems like a class guy. But I'm going to go quiet and just let this cutscene play out, guys. So I'll join you in a second.
You're dead. We killed you.
No. You killed a double. You think we didn't know of your plan?
We always know.
Do with him what you wish, General. He's my gift to you, in honor of our new relationship. Just make sure that he suffers.
He will know suffering beyond his darkest fears. I have plans for you, American.
Oh, he did. Dragovich sure did. It was a setup. They knew we were coming. That bastard Dragovich.
The Russian.
He was behind everything.
Where did Dragovich take you?
Russia. A labor camp. Oh, a hellhole called Vorkuta. Oh my god.
What did they do to you, Mason?
What didn't they do?
Why didn't Castro just kill you? Why did he give you to Dragovich?
Because Castro and Dragovich were working together.
Yeah, you were a gift.
Right.
Where did Dragovich take you?
Vorkuta. You had to fight. Just to survive.
What happened in Vorkuta, Mason?
I was on my own. Almost a year.
Fake, Mason. What did they do to you?
I'd given up hope of ever getting out. But Victor Reznov found a way.
So here we are with Vorkuta, the second mission in the game, and we get an introduction to Victor Reznov, everybody's favourite Call of Duty character, or certainly one of the most iconic. Gary Oldman's best performance of his entire career, without a shadow of a doubt. Definitely added so much soul to this game, and I'll tell you something. You know, Modern Warfare 2 was the... It seems daft now. Modern Warfare 2 was the first ever sequel within the series. You know, direct sequel, and I can tell you, when Black Ops come out, I did not expect a World at War character in here, so it was really cool to see Gary Oldman reprise his role, and Yeah, and of course he's done it a few times since, but obviously, is he there, is he not? And people still debate to this day, don't they? Like, just how much of Reznov is in this. Like, when did Reznov actually die? Because, you know, I've seen a lot of people suggest that maybe he's not even driving the truck at the very end of this level. You know, and I'm not going to get into a rabbit hole of too many theories, but what I will say is that this game's story really holds up, and the twist is quite basic. And when you know what it is, there's so many signs that make you think, "Oh, how did I not tell that straight away?" But that's always a sign of a really good twist, and not something like. What's good with the twist is the game doesn't lie at any point. You know, if you compare it to something like Spec Ops: The Line, which is a game I really enjoy, and the story of it's brilliant. But when the twist is sort of revealed about, I can't actually remember what the commander's called in it. But spoilers for Spec Ops: The Line that come out in 2012. You know, you find out that the guy you've got to get, the general, basically the Marlon Brando ripoff. Well, not ripoff, but inspiration. He's been dead the whole time. But when you actually get shown the truth, what you saw really in the game wasn't actually what happened. They made alterations, and I don't actually like when a game does that. You know, when it just shows you blatantly what you were seeing the first time is not. You had no way of guessing the twist because the clues were never clues were hidden from you that were then revealed later. Whereas in this game, in fairness, all the clues are laid out. You know, I would not be surprised to hear people tell me who were a lot older than myself, like my age now, when they played this when it came out, that they totally understood, they totally got the twist pretty early on, because it is really telegraphed and really obvious, but it's done well enough that it works and it still shocks you a bit, and then when you look back you think, oh my god, there were so many clues, how did I not see that? I feel stupid for not knowing it. And it was actually a really well done twist, and for a series that is certainly not seen as the thinking man shooter, this is very much the dumb man shooter, if there's such an expression. It was quite well done when Call of Duty still had a decent pair of bollocks on it and was willing to tell a really out there story. You know, these games were definitely very quite pro-American and stuff, but they were willing to certainly take a few digs now and then. And what's interesting is how much, especially World at War, is very pro-Soviet Union, you know, and stuff like that. And I won't go too much into that rabbit hole, but you know, for a series that is pretty pro like Western, it's not ashamed of like, you know, being a bit honest about things. But I would definitely not say that now about the series. I mean, I've only played with the campaigns recently, the recent ones, but yeah, it's just interesting that, you know, they're not afraid to show the Soviet side of things, especially in the Cold War setting. But before, guys, I did just briefly mention when we were coming to the end of Operation 40, the first mission, I did mention, you know, the zombie outing on this game, and I will say that, you know, years and years ago, did YouTube by a very different channel called BBFS main channel, which does not exist anymore. I got rid, which I kind of regret. Actually, there were some really fun videos on there, but we used to write down a lot of things we called zombie challenges, which are pretty self-explanatory. In fact, for those that will remember the 100 subscriber like celebration videos, I did some of these challenges, obviously using the Black Ops 3 Zombie Chronicle version of these maps, which are quite different with the pace, and some of the challenges didn't quite translate as well as I would have liked. But I'm going to be bringing some of them back. I've already recorded one of them from Derice, and I'm really looking forward to showing some of them off, because, you know, the idea, 14-year-old me is very envious of, you know, 28-year-old me here, because some of those challenge ideas, I genuinely think we had gold with some of them, and I'm really hoping I can get some of the old lads together, and maybe they won't lend their voices and do commentary for the channel, which is fair enough. Probably don't really want to do that sort of thing anymore, but if they could definitely be willing to get together for some games and help me, you know, get some footage together and show off some of them challenges, because we had some really, I think, and I don't normally toot my own horn, but I genuinely think we had some of the most interesting ideas for zombie challenges out there that we sadly, at our age, with the squeaky voices that we had when, you know, puberty hadn't quite taken effect yet, and we didn't have recording equipment, we were using mobile phones, you know, recording it off a potato used to be the expression back then, didn't it? But our technical and physical limitations stopped us from, I think, generally putting out some of the best content, which would have been zombie challenges at the time, because a lot of people were doing zombie challenges, but a lot of them I thought were really basic, and stuff like starting room only and starting room weapons only, or stuff like that, or pistol and knife only, which are all really valid and really fun challenges to do. But in terms of creativity, you're not really stretching much. I think stuff like what my friend created, the Figure of 8 challenge on Kino de Totem, which I did do for the 100 subscriber Celebration series where we did each of the like zombie maps. I genuinely think that is one of the best ideas ever as a zombie challenge, and I had to go on it the other day, and I'll still do it now and then just to kill time if I'm waiting for someone to come online or just need something to do for half an hour, because I don't generally get too far with it. And what's great about it is I've been obviously tweeting when I've been playing it now on Black Ops 1 on PS5 here. I've realised there's actually so many variations of that challenge you can do. Obviously it works 1 to 4 player, and I thought you could actually split it into 2 players and they both go separate routes around King of the Totem. And as I say, I'll do videos on all of this because I really think that it'd just be great to finally get those out with good quality and good commentary, or a commentary that is passable by people's standards, hopefully. But it's more just about, I don't know, closure's not the right word, but it's cathartic to finally give those challenges that I thought deserved better what we could have given them back then. I mean, even Perimeter Breach on Ascension was far more interesting. You know, the fact that only so much of the map could be used, which generally was quite... That was generally always the theme we kind of went with a lot of our challenges. And I mean, we've been trying to rack our brain around some of the old ones, but we got some really creative ones from World at War to the end of Black Ops. Black Ops 2, I think we kind of stopped. I mean, there's a very basic one you could do for transit, which is just stay on the bus. But what was good of our challenges is that we allowed for break rounds, so they weren't just... You could get far. My dream always with the challenges, and I don't know if it was my friend's dream as well, it may well have been, I'd have to ask him, but the dream, I should say, like I hope always was that we'd get those videos out there. And back in the time when YouTube you could do response videos directly to a video, but I kind of always hoped that someone or people that were just far better at zombies than us. I mean, we were half decent, but we weren't like 50 round regulars. We were like, we'd see 30 quite often, but not 50 or plus 40. But I'd love it if, you know, if that could happen now, where like some guys could see it and say, oh, I like that challenge, we'll give it a good go. And some really top class zombie players would say, oh, let's give that a go. And just if they could then record it and put it up themselves, and just it'd be fascinating. I'd love to see people attempt some of our challenges, because I think we have some unbelievable ideas. And yeah, I'm really excited to get those out. And I think that's been the main thing for getting YouTube back. You know, obviously I packed this in, did, you know, goodbye, we recorded the end live stream, a lot of fun. I did bring it back briefly for that Resident Evil stuff, but I think it was just too hard with these games coming out and getting ported, and possibly World at War coming ported. I just feel like there's just too much I want to get done and out there. I'm not saying I'm going to keep doing YouTube forever and ever, probably will still pack it in, but I think I've got some unfinished business right now that I really want to get out there. And it's funny, Black Ops 6 has actually quite enhanced this, because of course Black Ops 6, play for on the channel if you want to watch, by the way, had you return to Vorkuta, and that obviously, where that chopper where we've just destroyed, you know, use the harpoon and taking it down, that's obviously all destroyed, and you go in here, it's part of that level. And it's funny because I was talking to AI of all things about Black Ops 6 story, so I kind of forgot what happened in it, to be honest with you. It's kind of a strange ending, wasn't it? Like, I thought Black Ops 6 was pretty good. It was nearly as good as Black Ops Cold War. I think it just missed the mark on a few occasions that just let it down now and then, which was a real shame. But yeah, pretty fun campaign, but the ending was a bit like, I don't know, I felt a bit unfinished and rushed. I don't really know what Treyarch's plan is. I still haven't played Black Ops 7 because I was massively disappointed by that. I mean, talk about being gutted. They were like, it's going to be a direct sequel to Black Ops 2. That sounds pretty good, set in 2035. And you're like, well, that's good. That'll scratch that itch that Black Ops 2 did, of like being future but not quite future enough, and the world that we will see in very soon, or see glimpses of it. And I was fully on board, and then they were like, "Oh, it's going to be a co-op campaign." And I checked the difficulty there, guys, because I was breezing through it at this point, and I was like, "This isn't veteran." So if you ever see me do that, it's just because I feel like I've done something too easily. So I'm checking the difficulty, because I'm like, I should be dying a lot more than I am. But as I was saying, Black Ops 7, I was like, "Oh, I can't wait to play it." You know, me and a friend who I used to work with were like, "Oh, we're going to get it. You know, it's cross-play. He'll play PC, I'll play PS5, and we'll get it and we'll play it." And yeah, then the news came out how bad the game was, and I was really gutted, because I thought that'd be pretty good. But somewhat strange has gone on with the release order of this series now, because that's Treyarch doing back-to-back games, Black Ops 6 and Black Ops 7. That's not right. They should have had like a 2-year gap, because when you give Treyarch time, I think you get serious quality. I mean, Black Ops Cold War, I mean, I've spoken about this on the 20 Years of COD. Black Ops Cold War is genuinely like 2 to 4 missions away from being like a top 3 Call of Duty campaign. As it stands, it probably just scratches top 5. But it's so good, and it just is too short. And I think that's development. They weren't given enough time to develop it. I think they had to step in quickly because I think it should have been Sledgehammer. That one had made such a balls up of. Was it Vanguard? Oh man, Vanguard. They delayed that to release that piece of shit. I hate Vanguard with passion. I hate that Call of Duty so much. But yeah, and Black Ops Core had to suffer for it. That's just like criminal in my eyes. But hey, that's the way it goes. Never mind. There's been worse gaming injustices and far more bigger injustices in the world. But yeah, it does scratch me the wrong way that I just wish could have been maximised to its potential. And when you see stuff like right now, what I'm doing, guys, if you're like struggling with this game and you're using this as a walkthrough and you're listening to me rabbit on still, which thank you. What you're seeing there, guys, is just me, someone who's played this game a lot, like over 10 times on Veteran on campaign. So I just know spawn points a lot of the time, because if you're playing that there and you take out the 2 like mini juggernauts that appear now and then in the game, which are a strange enemy, strange for Call of Duty to add in the campaign. But I know those guys are going to spawn right behind me, so I know to quickly turn around and fire a shotgun and get down. Never underestimate the power of just getting prone in this game and these early Call of Duties and just giving yourself that minute. But I will say that speed is important. Speed is the key a lot of time on Veteran. Don't dilly-dally. Be aggressive at the enemy, and you'll have a lot more joy than if you are a bit more tentative. There are moments to be tentative, and when we come to them, I'll show you. But at times, I'll generally say it's speed. Speed is the key, and you'll have a much better time being aggressive. But if you are really struggling, take it slow, and you'll be all right. I think I do die here because there'll be another crossfade. But I've not had to edit much deaths out, which I was really surprised at. That'll change as the game goes on, by the way. But as I was saying, gutted about Black Ops 7. Hopefully Treyarch will return stronger. I imagine they've got to do some kind of sequel to Black Ops 6, because there's a hell of a lot of plot points that are like left untouched, unless Black Ops 7 has touched on some of them with Pantheon, that I think is the evil organisation. So I'll see what I will play it one day, but we'll see. I'm quite interested in Modern Warfare 4. That actually looks pretty good. Modern Warfare 3 was a bit of a bloody disaster. Modern Warfare 2 was okay. I didn't love it as much as some people did. I didn't love Modern Warfare that much either, but I think Modern Warfare 4's got some potential. I think I'm off work that week as well, so I think I'll definitely probably buy it around launch and give it a go. If I can't find something else to fill the time with. But this is where veteran mode suffers in Call of Duty, by the way, because moments like this that are big power fantasy, it is still a power fantasy, but you can't just walk out and be gung-ho with this minigun or the death machine as much as you want. But it's still a cool moment. And yeah, I mean, Call of Duty 4's really got nothing. You forget how subtly the series kind of changed in these moments, because COD 4 has nothing like this where it's a big power fantasy. COD 4 is a very gritty, like, down in the dirt military shooter. Like, but it is still very much Call of Duty. But it took a setting in World War II that was pretty horrific and should have been gritty, but was never really portrayed in that way, because they were very much using the template of, I'd say, like 50s, 60s, and 70s war films, where everything was quite heroic and stuff, which was very much just the attitude of the time that had come before. So it made sense that video games in the 90s and the late 90s did that. But yeah, we got to Call of Duty 4, which was a made-up setting, Middle East and Eastern Europe, and not particularly, non-fictitious settings for global conflicts in 2007. But the conflicts you're doing are not real, but it's such a gritty. Like, I remember the GameSpot review sort of and described it probably best. It said you go into places and doing these missions, and generally when you leave, you feel like you've made it worse off. That it was never a feeling that Call of Duty 1 to 3 ever did. You always felt like you're the hero. Like, parts of French countryside might be bombed to hell, but you're ridding the world of fascism one heroic step at a time. So don't worry about the fact that the countryside has been decimated because you're saving it. Whereas you got to Call of Duty 4 and you're like, we've made this Middle Eastern country worse than it was. Or, this part of Russia is ruined now. Even Chernobyl seems worse than when we left it. Which is just not something you ever get now, is it? I don't think Call of Duty does that. And we get, that really only existed for that one. World at War then decided to apply that to World War II and did it beautifully. Unbelievable. It's like when people going about Call of Duty World War II. I know this video commentary has been all over the place, but just indulge me, I'm coming back. But Call of Duty World War II is a half decent Call of Duty. I will finally admit that now, but I think it really pales because of World at War. It just had no grittiness whatsoever. It tried to be a bit of both middle ground between that old style Call of Duty 1 to 3 World War II setting. It was very inspired by Hollywood, as I say, 50s, 70s World War II films, like your classics like Sink the Bismarck, Bridge Too Far, etc. Maybe not so much Bridge Too Far because that's pretty. That isn't obviously a happy film, really, but it tried to be an odd middle ground, and I don't think it succeeded. Whereas World at War knew what it wanted to be and did it beautifully and unbelievably well, which is why if it gets ported over, I just cannot wait for that port to come. I really hope it does. But it's just something that's as I say, Black Ops. I think Modern Warfare 2 changed it, and it become this power fantasy. And as you can see here with the minigun and these motorcycle bits that are lifted straight out of a Hollywood action film, not a war film, I would say. This is Terminator 2, what we're doing right now with this shotgun, which is all very cool, but yeah, Call of Duty definitely changed here, and Modern Warfare 3 kept that going. Now, you will see the footage that you're about to watch here, at the end of the level, I am going to put up again, because I got the trophy here first time, and I don't know how, for destroying all vehicles. Now, this section is bollocks on Veteran. I died here, surprisingly, only once, but I don't know how. It could have been 10 times. This is one of those moments, guys, you could be here 20 times, and scratching your hair out. What I would say is don't let it get to you. Put some music on, listen to something else, because why am I not dying? I don't know. It's just not very well designed, and this is Veteran at its absolute worst. And thankfully, Call of Duty got a lot better at this now, because it just annoys me a lot. But yeah, I destroyed all the vehicles and I got the trophy for it without really intending to do it, because it's a hard trophy to get, that one. But talking about those Reznov theories, there are people that think that Reznov is dead here because did Mason somehow drive the truck himself? I mean, what's great about this campaign is that Alex Mason is not a reliable narrator, so you can have all sorts of theories. Mainly I think some people believe that because you can't see him in the truck, but that could just be technical PS3 limitation. But I'm going to go quiet now, guys, and let the cutscene play itself out.
At least for a while.
After your escape, you were assigned to Jason Hudson and the CIA. How could he trust you when he knew that Victor Reznov helped you break out of Vorkuta?
Reznov. He was my friend. But he didn't make it out.
Victor Reznov was a communist. How did the CIA know you weren't compromised?
They tested me. They knew I wouldn't break, and I won't break now.
The government wanted Dragovich. They wanted you to kill him.
Yeah. There were others. Others I was supposed to kill.
Who? Who, Mason?
So I'm going to include the footage for this mission, guys, SSDD, I think it's called. It's obviously, there's no combat or any real gameplay to this at all, but it does give me like 4 minutes to just talk brief Call of Duty and Recall gaming stuff. So with Recall, what you can expect for now is obviously this game's campaign on Veteran. I am going to do Black Ops 2 on Veteran, probably again be post-commentary. I had some ideas for that, like I didn't know like what, in terms of what story I should go for. I might try and go for the best ending, just for like clean sake, and just that way it serves as a really good walkthrough for people. That'd probably be a good way of doing it. We'll have to do Strike Force for that, which but Black Ops 2 difficulty might be a joke on Veteran in terms of easiness, but my god, Strike Force missions are not a joke on Veteran. They are hard as shit. But yeah, that's definitely what we'll be doing on the channel in the meantime. We'll definitely be doing some zombie challenges, as I've said. They'll just be up as and when, guys. I haven't really got a strict schedule. Uploads will probably be pretty sporadic, so I do apologise for that. But it was never my intention to come back, but I just got so many ideas in the pipeline that I want to do. In terms of other video games, Uncharted is at the forefront of my mind. I'm very well aware of the fact that we never did Uncharted 4. We've done Uncharted 1, 2, 3. We did The Last of Us. Those are 4 series that have been really popular, and I think probably when people think Recall Gaming, we'll probably usually go to Uncharted. So I think we've got to do Uncharted 4, and I was kind of, again, chatting with AI of all things. Sorry if I'm making the weather hotter with the data centers, but I don't want to just do Uncharted 4 and Crushing, because Uncharted 4 lacks like that extra difficulty mode that isn't always intended or well designed, but Uncharted 1, 2, 3 had the brutal, which again isn't very well designed, kind of similar to Veteran on this, but not well designed, but yeah, great entertainment for videos because of how stupid it is. You then have Last of Us Grounded, which is actually really good, and I actually think really enhances the game with its survival mechanics and survival horror really well. But Uncharted 4 just has nothing, just has crushing, which I don't typically enjoy. I've never really enjoyed Uncharted 4 crushing, so I've been looking at ways of making it more interesting. I think what we're going to do is we're going to obviously stick it on crushing, but we're going to add some extra restrictions on just to make it more interesting. And hopefully we can sort of recreate that brutal drama. You know, video title ideas will be stuff like Uncharted 4 doesn't have a brutal mode, so we made our own, stuff like that. And I always love that picture of World at War on the wall on the left, and the one on the plane. Just a quick side note. So yeah, Uncharted will definitely return. In terms of any other ideas, I haven't really got anything else. I mean, the Metal Gear Solid Master Collection Volume 2 comes out like very soon, which hadn't even realised, even though I pre-ordered it ages ago with like the Steelbook that I can't wait to get actually, which has got Metal Gear Solid 4 and Peace Walker. So I think there'll be some coverage of that. It wouldn't be right to again leave that one hanging. You know, we did Metal Gear Solid 1, 2, and 3. I covered Metal Gear Solid 1 a bunch of times on this channel. And imagine we get to MGS4 and Peace Walker, I'm a hell of a lot less familiar. But I've got some fun ideas to do on MGS4 that I think would translate to YouTube really well and would probably echo some of that Uncharted Brutal stuff. Obviously in a much more fair design difficulty. I did stop myself and say much better design game because I've got issues with MGS4. But yeah. I'm probably going to leave everything there, guys. I'll let this little speech with Kennedy play out on its own. Hopefully you've enjoyed the return of Recall Gaming. Hopefully you're all very excited to see what I do next. Obviously, with my old Black Ops stuff. But in the meantime, guys, you stay cool and keep on recalling. Recall Gaming out. For now.
Mr. President?
Agent Mason,
Great honor, Mr. President.
sit. We are in grave danger from the communists. Our freedom, our very way of life is at risk. Dragovich. I'm told that you are the very best that we have. Anywhere. You will need to be. Mr. Mason, take care of it.